Hi, this is attorney Jamie Miller, and I'd like to welcome you and thank you to another Miller Law Chronicle podcast. And today we're going to talk about the decision dilemma, the dilemma that people go to when they try to decide whether bankruptcy is the right thing for them. We're going to go through different elements. We're going to help you assess your debt and financial health, when to consider bankruptcy as a viable option, alternatives to bankruptcy, overcoming the stigma. So we're going to cover a lot of great things in this short podcast. Appreciate you listening in. Like us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, or on YouTube. Appreciate you listening in the momentum that we're having, helping a lot of people to move forward to a better financial future. Thank you. Hi, it's attorney Jamie Miller, and I'm here today with another episode of the Miller Law Chronicles. The Miller Law Chronicles was set up to help people navigate their way and simplify the legal maze by giving people clarity and confidence as they go through the legal process. And we focus a lot on people that are filing for bankruptcy, whether that's a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 13. But today, I really just want to spend a few minutes and talk about the fear that people have when it comes to filing for bankruptcy. I have the privilege and opportunity to talk to a lot of people. People are really reluctant to file for bankruptcy for great reasons. It's not something that people do all the time. It's something that's new to them. It's something that oftentimes there's a stigma attached with it. People are fearful of filing. They don't know what's going to happen after the bankruptcy is done and how they're going to get back on their feet, what the future looks like. A lot of reasons, but I just really wanted to spend a minute talking through a few things that should be considered before you file for bankruptcy or one makes that decision. So in this episode, we're really going to focus on that dilemma and explore the factors to consider, when making that crucial decision on whether to file bankruptcy or not. And so the first step is really assessing your debts and your financial health at this time as you're navigating your way through the decision-making process. It's really important to talk to professionals, talk to friends, take a step back, assess where you're at. Are you behind on your debt? Are creditors bothering you? Are you facing repossession? Are you facing foreclosure? Are you scared of processor servers coming to your home? You have to consider all of those factors. And many times people will file bankruptcy in a situation where the creditors are being really aggressive and they're knocking on your door and they're trying to take assets. And that's one element. And sometimes when you're in that situation, it can be easier to make the decision to file for bankruptcy. But then there's the decision where we have many clients that are up to date on their debt. Their debt to income ratio may be high. They may be up on the mortgage payment. They may be up on the car payment. They're living check to check, but they're making it. They're paying their bills as they come due. They're paying minimum payments on credit cards, but their credit score is dropping because the debt to income ratio is so high. They're not living the life that they need to live. They may be sacrificing things that they wouldn't otherwise have to sacrifice if they weren't paying all their bills. Now, I'm not advocating everybody should file for bankruptcy, but the situation where you're just stressed out. Creditors are held at bay because you're making minimum payments, but you're just waiting for the next shoe to drop when, God forbid, you have an illness or a car repair. It's just that one moment in time where you find that something could come up that's going to make it a challenge to pay those bills. And maybe your credit score is dropping. I see it a lot. People come in, they're up to date on their bills, but their credit score is dropping because their debt to income ratio is so high. So, it could be trying to prevent the fire, which is the garnishment and the foreclosure and the repossession. Or it could be just you're just barely scraping by and life is a challenge. And you need to consider those situations. You should talk to a lawyer, talk to your accountant, talk to your friends. You need the professional assistant to help you make the best decision for you and your family. So you need to assess your current debt situation or financial health and when to consider a bankruptcy as a viable option. I don't think you can really consider that as an option until you've talked to a professional, talked to a lawyer, and you've really seen how bankruptcy can help you. What does bankruptcy look like for you? What debts can you get rid of? And what is your life situation, your financial situation going to look like after your bankruptcy is done? So you need to consider bankruptcy as a viable option, but you need to consult with a professional to understand what bankruptcy will look like in your world. And then you need to consider the alternatives to bankruptcy. And when you meet with us or you meet with another lawyer, it's their responsibility to present different options to you. So I can tell you here, when I meet with somebody, we're going to sit down, we're going to look at your assets, your liabilities, your income and expenses. We're going to look at your debts specifically. We're going to look at where you're at now and where you are in the future. So when you come to Miller and Miller, and I'm not trying to sell Miller and Miller because it could be any lawyer, their job should be, and our job is not to tell you what to do. Our job is to present options to you that work for you and your family. I want to be able to put you in the best position that I can to help you get back on your feet and help you make the best decision that works for you and your family. So we'll talk about chapter 7, discharging your debts. We'll talk about chapter 13 and setting you up on some sort of payment plan. We'll talk about chapter 128, which is a reorganization, allows you to pay back your bills over time, over a 3-year period of time. We'll talk about debt negotiation, what that looks like, avoiding a bankruptcy. And we'll talk about not filing bankruptcy at all. For some people, that is a viable option. And so we'll talk about that also. And then I want to talk to you about overcoming the stigma. I need people to understand and to recognize that bankruptcy is a tool. It's not a failure. It is a fresh start. It is a new starting point. It's not easy to face the fact that you might have to file a bankruptcy, but it's not a failure. The people that file bankruptcy for us are those that want to and need to confront financial issues and confront their situation and move forward. It's really the most financially educated people that want to file bankruptcy or need to file bankruptcy because they realize the importance of um, a debt-free future, an improved credit report future, and the need to protect one's family and protect one's assets and checking account, just to be honest. So just because you have to file bankruptcy, don't look at it as a failure. You need to look at it as a fresh start. And I just encourage you to have a conversation with us because you need to talk to an expert. You need to consult with someone that knows. Sometimes you can go look at the internet and talk to friends, but it's really hard to find specific information that applies to you and applies to your situation. Nothing that you're going to search on the internet is going to give you every answer that you need. You need to spend time. And I don't like telling people what to do, but what I can tell you, if you're facing debt issues, and if you are, you need to spend the time with a qualified bankruptcy lawyer that can present all the options to you and help you understand what a fresh start looks like, what a bankruptcy looks like, and how you can get back on your feet, get a 720 credit score, get that home or car you've ever dreamed of, save money for college. All of these things are incredible reasonable goals that you can achieve. I want to be part of your journey. There's many great bankruptcy lawyers in town that can help you with that too. But in general, I don't think you can get over the decision dilemma unless you get all the facts in front of you. And I think you need to surround yourself with professionals that can help you do that. So I hope that kind of gave you some insight on how to overcome the decision dilemma in understanding if bankruptcy is right for you. Just wanted to share a few thoughts with you on that. And I appreciate you tuning in. I think this has been a great experience with my podcast so far. Love sharing information with our clients and friends. If you enjoyed the podcast and you find value in it, I really would appreciate it if you could take a moment to go to YouTube and follow the Miller Law Chronicles on YouTube and subscribe to our podcast. You can subscribe and like our podcast or follow us on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. I appreciate you so much, and I hope you found this podcast valuable. Thank you so much.